you're opening up this whole heroin market in California, just using brute force and murder if necessary, in conjunction with Joe Morgan, who's working with Tijuana cartels or families, and you were successful at it.
Right.
So now this is $1 million heroin operation. Explain how the drug dealing works within La M on the streets and prison, because you mentioned taxes earlier. I know that there's a tax that everybody that's associated or selling directly for La M has to pay. Can you explain that?
That came into play in the 90s. In the 90s, what happened is they started with the no drive-by edict. They instructed and told the street gangs there were not going to be any more drive-bys. If you're going to get at each other, you're going to do walk-ups. You're going to walk up to your targets. And this was of all the heat that was being generated because of drive-bys. African-American and Mexican gangs, there was a lot of that going on back in that time frame. So there were a couple of things there. It's diffusing the public opinion or the heat that was being generated because of this. And also, it was the Mexican Mafia's way of harnessing the gangs under this umbrella of this common thing of let's do it this way. We're not going to do that anymore. Anybody who violates a no drive-by edict will be targeted by all the other gangs. So they liked it. There were meetings. There were small meetings at different parks. It was a big meeting at Elysian Park. In fact, that one is chronicled pretty good. It was right across the street from the LAPD Academy. And so they even staged a football game, in between the meeting and the academy. Yeah. When the officers would drive by that park, they would see a football game and they think it's normal activity. Yeah. And here you got dozens of gang members, listening to a big homie, a Mexican Mafia guy. And in Orange County, I've got a lot of that footage. In Orange County, the same thing. Sana did the same thing in Orange County. So that's how that began, by controlling the gangs to that degree, reestablishing their ties with now the different cartels. Main cartel at that time was the AFO in the 90s.
The Ariano Felix organization out of Tijuana.
And there were a lot of dynamics that played into that. Not only the relationship that was there, but it was further enhanced with the addition of David Barron. David Barron was a Mexican Mafia member from Logan Heights, San Diego street gang. He was a Mexican national. He was born in Tijuana, I believe. And when he paroled in the 90s, he ends up going to Tijuana, became a bodyguard for the Arianos.
That's right.
And then, in fact, he saved some of them from Chapo Guzman in Puerto Vallarta at a club, and killed a couple of Chapo's men and got them out there. They got him on a plane back to Tijuana, and they were so grateful. They asked him if he wanted to be the head of their enforcement squad, their execution squad.
He's portrayed in Narcos Mexico on Netflix.
He is. And he's also in my book, The Unholy Alliance, where I do a chapter on him. I knew a couple of his sicarios who were Mexican Mafia guys who I talked to and gave me a lot of the inside stuff that they performed. And David was pretty ruthless, but that was him and Bat Marquez. Bat Marquez is another San Diego gang member from Del Sol who recruited Popeye into the Mexican Mafia. And then Popeye, of course, pulled him in when he was in Tijuana working for the AFO, pulled in other brothers as well. Look, here's the ephedrine, which is the ingredient for meth. Take as many barrels as you want. It's on them. This and that. And all the fellas had to do is get cooks in the desert, Palmdale, places like that. Right. They had the cooks there. The heroin was just second nature. I mean, that's automatic. Whatever they can move, that's how that pipeline began. With David pushing it, Popeye, and the guys that were out. Now you got the guys in prison. As most of these guys started getting busted, now they have their territories. So by way of having those territories on the streets, their shot calling ability is now possible from the inside.
Right.
Now you got cell phones.
Yeah.
Think of the evolvement as we're coming forward. Today, average person watching this podcast, a cell phone, they can't remember what it was like not to have a cell phone. I remember when I cannot tell you how we killed so many people and did so many things without the use of a cell phone. We had beepers, and that assisted us in that regard. But now you got cell phones. You got guys like Ronnie Ayala, who was on death row. How does he get a cell phone to make a conference call? So you got guys, Mexican mafia guys in the state of California in a level 4 prison yard, communicating with somebody in Mexico, communicating with somebody in San Diego or LA, and maybe somebody in a federal prison on a conference call whenever they want to. That little phone kills more people than a prison shank. Prison shank, it's hard to kill somebody in prison, especially if they know that you're after them. I mean, it's not an easy task.
Right.
You hear about people getting killed and all that all the time. It's not an easy task. But I'll tell you, that little cell phone is 100 times more dangerous than the shank.
Okay, so all of these towns and neighborhoods all throughout California are now de facto under control of big homies that are in prison.
In one way or another, yes.
Okay, so, and they've got enough power to where they can actually dictate what people do on the streets.
And the reason they have that power, because they've already established their hierarchy. You have your camaradas. Okay, sureños are anybody. Okay, sureños literally means southerners. Assumption is Southern California, not just Los Angeles. It's Inland Empire, which is Riverside and San Bernardino County, Imperial County, San Diego County. You might as well throw Kern County, Ventura County, Santa Barbara County. That's technically Central Cal, but they're all considered that same one big mad thing. So all these sureños have the more active and aggressive and functioning guys in that group are called camaradas. They're referred to as camaradas. A camarada is Spanish slang for a friend.
Yeah, comrade.
He's my comrade. Yeah, he's my camarada. He's my dog, my road dog or whatever. Just a slang word for that. Okay. But it also has another meaning in the Sureño world and in the Mexican Mafia world. A camarada is the highest placed Sureño on the fast track to possibly being made. So those guys are some of them are enforcers, money earners, guys that are the head of the crews. They're the ones that direct.
Right.
Somebody they got to take out so-and-so. He directs the crew, go take him out.
Right.
Boom, boom, boom. They don't ask. They just do the job. Directing the money, whoever it is that's in charge of depositing the money, paying somebody, whatever. The cartels that they're working. Cartels found out, wow, why do we have to worry about all the BS when Mexican Mafia can take care of it for us? I don't know how many indictments. I can pull them up.
Right.
And you can read the language of the indictments yourself. And there's different cartels. It's not like the MA has allegiance to one cartel.
Yeah.
Whoever they make money with, whoever they establish, they meet them in prison. I got pictures with Benjamin in a federal prison surrounded by Mexican Mafia guys.
Wow.
What do you think they're talking about? What do you think they're doing?
Yeah, talking about keys.
All of it. All of it is networking, kind of like what we do with YouTube. We network with people. They do the same thing, and they exchange contracts.
Right.
Aryan Brotherhood and Mexican Mafia. To this day, I hear this thing, well, their relationship is not the way it used to be, and it's kind of like on shaky grounds. I say bullshit. If the Mexican Mafia it needs to kill a target in the federal prison system and they cannot get to him, and the AB can, or their associates, AB will take care of it.
Wow.
Gladly.
Yeah.
And the other way around is also true.
They're allies.
They're allies.
Okay, so it's the Sureños. Now, when you say Sureño, could that mean somebody from like a Ventura, if they're in Ventura, California, and they're part of like a local street gang that's affiliated or takes orders from a camarada that's affiliated with the Mexican mafia?
Yeah.
Are they called Sureños? Do they call themselves Sureños on the street? Or could they be, I'm from Florencia, or I'm from the Ventura gang, but I am a Southerner, I'm a Sureño? Or do they call themselves Sureños?
On the streets.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. On the streets, they don't have to call themselves Sureños,
Right.
but they're functioning as Sureños because they're sympathetic and they're facilitating for Sureños, or better put, for the Mexican mafia. And I'll take it one step further. Out of state.
Right.
Nevada, Ohio, Florida. I'm just thinking of places that I know. Washington, Utah. You have Sureños functioning over there and some of them say they're Sureños. Other ones, maybe they want to be under the radar and they don't want to say it, which is smart, but they're working under the Mexican mafia umbrella. There's a big homie that's pushing that button.
Right. And those are like the equivalent of like a plaza boss within the cartel in Mexico.
Yes.
Okay. And that big homie is the one who's connected directly to, that camarada is directly connected to somebody within La M.
Right.
That's shot calling or supervising, and they're kicking up a percentage of what they make selling drugs to that person, that shot caller, who's most likely in prison.
Yeah.
And what is that tax? Like 10%?
It'll vary. It'll just depend on how much money is being generated. The ones that are not that productive, maybe it's a higher percentage.
Right.
The ones that are generating more money, they want their facilitator. If you're my highly placed camarada generating a lot of money, I want you to be happy. So I don't need, but maybe 10%.
Right.
Okay. The 18th Street, which is probably one of the most productive street gangs, they had I think 4 or 5 guys. They had a label. The media, they call them the $1 Million Club because they're all millionaires. And they had a compound. Some of them guys had a compound. And Rocky, I think it was Rocky Delgadillo, a councilman, he filed I think it was a $5 million civil lawsuit and won and got paid back then against them. Where did they get the money?
Right.
The proceeds.
Right. And 18th Street, obviously famous street gang from 18th Street in L.A., go figure. They are Sureños. That's an example of a very, very strong Sureño clique. Because
of the representation. You ever heard in school, remember in school, taxation without representation?
Of course.
Okay, that was a famous history in your history class. I think I remember that very well.
The American Revolution, based off of that.
Same thing with gangs. If you have big homies from your gang, first of all, remember, status. First thing I hear from many officers all over the place, how can 50,000, 60,000 Sureños, why don't they just rebel and do their own thing?
Right.
Why on earth would they allow some guy, some junkie sitting in a prison? Says, that took time. What you don't understand, these guys, think of it as like different families. You have dysfunctional uncles, right, that are in your family. You love your uncle. You look up to them. You're proud of them because they were from your family. And they were badass. Now they're old. And this guy might be in a wheelchair. Now you're representing him. You're representing your family.
Right.
You're taking care of the business. You're not going to throw him under the bus. You're going to say, look, Uncle so-and-so or Dad, just chill. Let me handle it. I'm going to take care of it for you. He's going to take you up on that. So that status, that relationship remains. It's just handed down. It proliferates. And so all these kids in other states, I like to say what do you call it? The Sureños that the ones from other states that don't know nothing about the LA scene, they don't have to. I say they probably watch too many episodes of Gangland, right? But the danger that they represent is real, because a wannabe is a gonna be, and they're proving themselves, right? So they want a body count, so they're gonna prove themselves. They're gonna function on their behalf, and they're gonna fly the Sureño flag. They could be in Chicago, they could be in New York, wherever. I know they have their predominant gangs over there, but you got this like a damn cancer that spreads throughout the country. And this is all documented. Yeah. By the way.
Fascinating. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Getting back to 1975, you're leading this Murder Inc. For La M, just crazy.
It's crazy.
Psycho, killing people, taking turf. Organizing, really like getting that economic power that keeps this machine moving, right?
And spreading the fear. That was part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. How many markets do you remember taking? How many different towns and drug dealers do you remember pressing so they would accept your product?
During that period, it was mostly East LA and a little part of Nela, just a little. But it was mostly on the east side, and you're talking at least a dozen at that time. I was more interested in pulling the trigger because that's what I specialized in.
Right.
I was comfortable. If I wanted a brand new car, I'd go buy it. I even tried establishing credit one time. I went, you're going to laugh at this. I bought a brand new Chrysler Cordova because I already had a car. But I saw Ricardo Montalban on TV in a commercial talking about Corinthian leather with that exaggerated accent of his, right? And I'm looking at the Cordova, and he's touching the leather, and I'm going, that's some good shit right there. So I went to the dealership and decided I wanted a brand new root beer Chrysler Cordova with Corinthian leather, right?
Yeah.
And it was $8,700 brand new.
Right? $8,700.
$8,700. I mean, today.
Good times.
Yeah. And I gave him. Well, I was going to pay him cash, and he said, "We can finance it for you if you'd like." I go, how about I give you $7,700 and let's finance $1,000? Okay. So we're doing the paperwork, and then they come back, and the guy tells me, "Well, I have good news and bad news." So give me the bad news first. You don't qualify for credit. I said, okay, but I got good news. Look, don't worry about it. Here's the other $1,000. Oh, no. We'll finance it. The dealership will finance it for you. I said, I don't need it. It was just me wanting to get credit so I could say, hey, I got good credit.
So how much were you being paid?
What do you mean?
Like, how much money were you making on the street? And how was that structured?
Well,
because you weren't the one selling drugs specifically. So where was your money coming from?
Well, for the few months that I was out there, I would say we didn't have accountants. I didn't really keep track. It wasn't like I wasn't individually generating millions or anything like that, but I had 50,000 to play with on any given day.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, and that's from heroin sales, or that's from robberies? Okay.
No, that was from heroin.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're doing the collections too. You're dropping off and collecting.
Others are doing that.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was enjoying. I was going to Vegas. I was, and then in the middle of that, I had a girlfriend. I had her thinking that I had a job. So I remember having to pretend like I was going to work. And I wasn't going to work. I'd end up at another place.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed that clip, you can see the full episode by clicking on the link right over here and subscribe to our channel right over here. Thank you so much.